Uh, it's a very sunny day, January, on January, and today is that too. And there's a lot of noise around me: the sound of God, the sound of chickens, the sound of duck, people. But anyway, the view is really beautiful, so I cannot leave without making a video with the beautiful background. Let's admire the view for a second. The mountains are so, the creation of God. It's very beautiful. And today I want to talk about things, and there's people there. I want to talk about topics that I have written down here. Mm, and I don't know how to start this. This is supposed to be like 30 minutes long, or maybe 35 minutes, or maybe 40 minutes long yapping session. But I don't know if words will come out of me because initially when I wrote about these topics, I have a lot on my mind. But since I am in this place right now, I don't know if things will come out the way I want them to come out. But anyway, I will speak, I will talk. Firstly, I want to talk about mm, let's be positive. First off, let's be positive because the view is beautiful, and let's be positive first off. I want to talk about how beautiful life is. You see, although although the world is not getting any better, being in this village, being in the village side, reminds me so much of my childhood, and most of my best memories are made in a village when I was younger. So, um, village life is quite peaceful, although not many people are residing in this side anymore. But then the side of mountains, the side of flowers, trees is very calming, you know. It's already very calming, and I could say that since I could also spend this Christmas with all my family without having to send anyone off, I think it's a very great blessing, and I I couldn't be much more happier than being with my family. And family it means a lot. Family is really important and the best thing that could ever happen to you. Without your family, you're just nothing. You're miserable. Okay, firstly, I want to talk about this. I'm pretty sure that we are all self conscious at some point. By this, I mean that mm, we think that others are watching us. We think that others care about us that much, or we think that they care deeply about us and think about us very much. But actually, nobody thinks about you that much, okay? So, uh, at the same time, it's very sad. At the same time, it's also very free. There's freedom, If nobody thinks about you or cares about you that much, then that means you are free. Maybe you are out in public, maybe you are um, in college, or maybe a program or events or function. You may feel self-conscious about your hair, or maybe the way you dress, but the truth is that nobody will notice the things that you noticed about yourself. And the ones that notice you, the ones that noticed, they are the ones that like you or either hate you. Because there are no in between, okay? If you care too much, or if you think about too much, if you think about someone too much, it's either that you like them or you don't like them. But as in my case, when I think about someone, if I think about someone a lot, means I like them. Mm, I think that thinking about someone and not having a good feeling towards them is just a burden, you know? It just makes you miserable. It just makes you miserable, that's why. And I wanna say, yeah, this is what I wanna say. Nobody thinks about you that much. That's why you should be, you should live your life freely, be yourself, and don't ever try to change yourself, or don't ever try to impress other people. And don't and never put anyone on a pedestal. If you don't know the meaning of pedestal, you can go search it up. Never put someone on a pedestal and try to love, and never try to love someone if you put them on a pedestal, because nobody is out of your league. I hate the thought that when some songs, they mention that some singers, they mention that the person they like is out of their league, and I don't agree with that. Nobody is out of your league, because one way or another we all have flaws, and although somebody seems really perfect, pretty, handsome, there will always be a part of them that makes them human. And that's why you should never, when you compare yourself to the person that you like, never put yourself so lowly, don't put them high up there. I remember that each one of us has flaws, and you do not have to worship another person so that they could recognize your love, recognize your feelings or your love. Because humans are just humans, we are not that great. And secondly, I wanna talk about what I don't like about funerals. So, this has always been in my head. Funerals, funeral service. Somebody just died, and the program, people come in their house, and then the funerals. And outside of that funeral home, we make jokes, we laugh with our friends. Even me, I do that. Like even when I attend funeral service or anything like that, if I'm with my friends, I talk about uh, we catch up on things, and that the weight of the funerals, the weight of the funerals. What what are we there? Most of the times, I forget. We forget. And what I meant to say is that the sentiment of the funeral, the whole point of a funeral is losing its meaning, is losing its significance, and it is important that um, that I um, give more meaning to this, because we are mourning, and in that place where somebody just died, we cannot go and make jokes and laugh about it. And also one thing is that after all those funerals, after a day or two, and there we have feast, and that's such, I don't like that idea, although I cannot do anything about it. Like, why do we have to have feast after someone just died? For the homeowner, for the family that just mourn, it would be such a big burden. Like, you're mourning, and then you're gonna have to feed 50 more than 50 people, and then after a few days, they will all be gone, and you'll have to worry about how much you spent. That's such a foolish thing. So if it's, I would like it if the feast is not necessary. Just make some tea, and just end the program real quick. Having to feed more than 50 people while you are sad and grieving is not such a nice combination. Today is a little cloudy, I think. I thought that the mountains were very clear the other day. Or was it always like this? That's why I don't really like having feast in the funerals. Funerals should be more taken seriously. We do not have to feed people if you are grieving. You do not have to worry about financial conditions after mourning a few days later. And secondly, I want to talk about the limitations of humans' emotions. This is also very related to funerals, because I'm gonna say it from my point of view. Whenever my parents or anyone talks about, hear the news, tell me that somebody just died, maybe in my neighborhood, or maybe someone that my parents know, I I don't feel anything. And this is the limitation. I'm talking about this limitation. If I have to feel sad every time I hear the news that somebody just died, like we just lost someone, like that's why that that God, like if I have to mourn or grieve every time I hear the news that somebody died, it would be too much. But I wish that we could all feel more deeply. It just feels like, yeah, Maybe it's because all throughout our life we witness people dying and grieving, burials, everything. Is it because that we witnessed it too many times that we are not even affected by it at all anymore? But then again, if it comes down to our family, if we have to mourn our family's death, then we would very much cry. I would very much cry. But I cannot feel for a stranger's death, and which is why I'm talking about limitations. Like, their family must be so sad. Their family must be devastated. But as for me, it feels so natural to the point uh, that it doesn't even affect me a little bit. And that's why I wish that our emotions could be more, I wish that our emotions could be expanded. I wish that our emotions could be more big so that we could take a little time to mourn a stranger's death, even if we don't know them at all. What is this flower called? Christmas. Christmas bug. Christmas. What is the time? Time. 2:30. 2:30. Oh, wait. The topics that I am done talking about, I have to tick them, okay? Mm, okay. And the next I want to talk about is the lack of curiosity and questions and conversations. I feel this deeply because I am lacking in conversation skills. I am lacking in curiosity, and I don't try to talk. I do try, but then I don't know. There's a something is limiting me to talk to my elders or to strangers. Maybe it's because I lack curiosity. Maybe it's because I'm not that interested in their life. But I think this is a problem because I witnessed this. Um, even even between uh, families, let's just say, I noticed that when we are with our grandparents, we don't ask them questions, and they don't ask us questions. Like we just exist beside each other without caring much for each other. Like we just exist beside each other without caring much for each other, and there is a lack of curiosity. What if we are all a little more curious about each other? What if you ask your grandfather what happened when he was 17, or what was his best memories? What if you ask your grandmother how was life when she was younger? I mean, some people appreciate talking about it, but some people don't appreciate it at all, and that depends on the context, on what type of person they are. But then I wish that we are all more curious, and I wish that we could all conversate more, talk to each other more, ask each other more questions. Because sometimes I just suddenly thought, what if God forbid, this is just an example, but what if my father died? What if my grandmother passed away and they want me to talk about her? and I don't know what to say, anything to say about her. Get out! And I don't know anything to say about her because I never asked her questions. Because we just simply exist beside each other, they love us, we love them, but then there's a lack of curiosity. Pai khiao. Bao ni dekla.
My right come.
Pai
You
khiao.
look so funny.
Pai khiao. An su boy ko. Zawut kin ka hi.
Go down, man.
Pai khia.
Go down.
Bang ja ka zo dek dila.
Đã số là tao về là.
Pai khia. Oi, bang.
Ui chân hổ thế mà.
Pai khia. Get out. Get out. Bitch. And based on this topic, there's something I want to add. I will partly blame technology, social media for this. Not social media, but technology and advancement for this, because in the past, back when you know technology was not that relevant, and we are bitch hollow. Like even when we hang out with our siblings or cousins, we don't talk to each other anymore. We don't know how to talk to each other anymore. We don't know how to build conversations anymore. And that's because we are just stuck in our house watching the phone all day. Hoa vào bia gọi là chỉ bói là vạ. À bù tên này vợ bù tên. Gọi về. Và khá về lệ. Dòng về. So let's all be more curious about each other. But I cannot hope for that anymore because I know that in the future world, in the with time, if we move forward with our life, we're gonna lose our conversation skills, and also I don't think we'll know each other that much anymore. Let's all be more curious about each other, okay? And I want to talk about beauty. Beauty is in simple things. I noticed that a lot of people who are insecure about themselves actually didn't realize the beauty in themselves because they compare themselves. to others. I mean, what good comes with comparison, right? If I compare myself to another girl, I would probably notice the goodness in her and probably ignore the goodness in me. I mean, the last time I compare myself to others, I don't feel too good. So comparison is a bad thing, okay? You cannot compare the beauty of things because we each have our own beauty. I mean, beauty and looks, beauty and looks matter, but at the end of the day, we want to stick with people that are kind, that care for us, that that have good intentions. And beauty is in the way you smile at others, in the way you worry about others. It is also in the way you remind others that you are thinking of them, the way you check up on them and ask how they are. Um, it is in the way you um, smile at the thought of your mother, or when you smile, when you look at babies or hold babies, or when you listen to your favorite songs, or when you watch your favorite movies. Beauty is in simple things. It exists in small ways. So if you cannot find beauty in anything, then there's gotta be something wrong with you. Life is beautiful. But on the contrary, I want to talk about this. Life is beauty. Life is beautiful, and beauty exists in simple ways. But again, life is dark because I have been watching videos online on theories, something like that, and those things they were talking about like Illuminati, 666, um, what is that, satanic, and all that. Kanye West, Beyonce, who is this guy? Somebody. There was this one guy. Mm, mm, I'm talking about the Hollywood because this whole system, the whole system. I mean, the whole system. I mean the maybe in Hollywood or maybe the election system. Everything in U.S. Mostly the U.S. is a really dark place, and some people say that the KFCs, the burgers, and everything. Uh, those are human meats. I also believe that because I believe that these so many children are kidnapped and there's human trafficking, and so those children could end up in the hands of people with bad intentions. And Elon Musk. I mean, we are all aware, but slowly, people who worship Satan are ruling this world. They are now powerful, they are the influential people that we see online, smart people. And so one day they're gonna be the one that implement darkest darkest intentions. By this I mean that they're gonna be the one that actually ruin your life. Life is dark, you know. And I also believe in ghosts and demons. Because even right now beside me there could also be a spirit, who knows? And this is a spirit world. So good spirit, bad spirits, it all exists together. Mm, okay. Since we're talking about life, let's talk about life again. Unfair. Life is unfair. Let me tell you why I think life is unfair. I am not depressed right now. It's not that I am not happy with my life, but what I mean for this is when I say life is unfair, I'm thinking about homeless people. I'm thinking about the people that live on the streets in cities, the people that are born into lower caste. And you know the caste system is so unfair. What do you mean that you have? What do you mean you have to divide somebody? What do you mean you have to divide people just because they are born into a caste that are lower? And what do you mean you glorify some other because they are born in a higher caste? That's such a human behavior, and I don't like that. We don't have choices when we enter this world, you know. It's not my choice to be born into this world, but I am born. I am here. And I ended up being born in a middle class family, and life is good. But as for some other, what do you mean they are born without um what is it? What do you mean they are born and they cannot see? What do you mean some people are born without heart? What do you mean some people are born without kidneys? How can we explain all that? And some people are born into a family of homeless. The thing is that it's really unfair if you think about it then. It is unfair to think that this is supposed to be our destiny. I mean, if I were a homeless woman right now, I would think about why I was born homeless when some others are born with generational wealth. Why is it that some people are born smart? Why is it that some people are born a little less smarter? What do you mean? And this and the thing is that life will always be a question, you know, life itself will be a question. Why do we exist? And some things like that. I mean, if we're talking about life and our existence, then we're always gonna involve God in it to create life and all that. But I don't want to further talk about God or include in here because I'm just going to create it like this. Life itself is a question and it's also a mystery, and I think it is best to leave it unanswered. I don't think that we have to dig deeper into it. Although I could say life is unfair. There are the poor, the rich. The poor get poorer, the rich get richer. Because we're all so fucking selfish, you know. The rich people are not that. Um, what do I say? Rich people are not that. What is it called? Yeah. They are not selfless, they are so selfish. If all the rich people in the world combine their money to help to end poverty, I feel like we could all end they could end poverty with their money alone. But instead they build big houses, they buy lands, they build high walls, they buy cars. Uh, we are all selfish, we are so selfish, and I don't think that we can change life around because we don't have sympathy. So before I hop onto another topic, I want to recite a poem. I don't know if I should call it a poem, something that I just write. I'm not gonna call it a poem, I'll just call it a writing. Um, yeah, this one. I'm just gonna recite it. Love of any kind should not be glorified over another, and our affection of any kind should not be more justified as normal or abnormal. We do not share hearts and minds. What you feel, others don't feel. So, really, there is no complete understanding of one another. And of choices we don't know, of stories we don't hear, judgment shouldn't be made easy. Feelings of natural birth, feelings feelings we learn, feelings that won't die. How it appeared to us is not the truth, and so blind judgment should be avoided. Instead, let's try and listen to words that may change us. Foolish prophecies, foolish preachings, let's abandon. This binding could ever be beautiful if we all choose to listen. And I also want to talk about another. Mm, ooh, ooh, oh, I don't have any other anymore. I want to also talk about Christians. This is the thing that concerns me the most because I myself call a Christian and I myself call born again, but I am not devoted. I am so imperfect and full of flaws. But on the other hand, let's omit myself. I'm not gonna talk about myself, but in general, I want to talk about the Christians. So many people, so many uh, atheists and Hindus and Muslims, they observe the way we live and they don't actually learn from us, but instead we rather learn from them. The thing is that we are Christians for the namesake, and by observing the way we live, I could say 100% with confidence that around 10 out of 100%, around 10% would go to heaven. Because although we preach in the church about love and kindness, we do not live our life that way. Of course, we are full of flaws. I mean, we are not perfect. But when it comes to forgiveness or when it comes to self reflection, we lack in it. If somebody starts saying things about how to improve yourself, instead of pointing that advice towards yourself, you point that towards others. And that's the mindset that we have. And also, if if we are really Christians, then I think that life would be better. Of course, there's a big difference between Christians and non-Christians. Like for the Japanese people, like for the Koreans, we're gonna talk about social conditions. Their streets are clean. Okay, they do not throw litter here and there, but our place is full of litter. This is just basic basic decency. If we all have basic decency, then we would know how to care of our surroundings. But then the thing is that although their life is like that for the Koreans and Japanese and other people, although their life, the place they live is clean and all that, they are empty. Although Christians, we are more privileged than non-Christians because we know the words of God and we have the answer to eternal life. But then again, I feel like we think so lowly. We take it so lightly of the word Christians. And the thing is that Christianity is becoming more of a religion than of devotion and sacrifice. It's only a religion. Even followers of Christ, we don't even devote ourselves anymore. We rather care about the ways how to earn money without working, how to earn money without having to sacrifice most of what you have, and then we are simply just too careless. And what I am also concerned about, is parents not having a Christian parents, because some children may want to go to church, but then the parents doesn't lead them. The parents argue, the parents stay at home, just watch phone. If I as a parent cannot lead my children to church, then I fail as a parent. Because think of it like this. You have to think about the life of your children, not only about yourself. And I'm glad that I have a parents that pray for me still, that could pray for me, that lead me to church, because then I'd be so lost. And I pity the ones that have parents who are drunk, who are drunkard, or druggers, I don't know who do drugs and all that. And I hope that their life becomes better. I pray for that. Mm-mm. So this is an answer to a question that I never received, although it doesn't matter. I have always asked myself this: why do I write? Why do I make videos? Ever ever since I was a teenager, when I was around 13, 14. From there I started making videos. I started not started, but then ever since then I liked filming myself. Like there was this one old YouTube account where I play guitar and that was like 32 seconds long, but that was so funny. And the other one was where I just play basketball and I upload it out there. I mean, I could say I always loved watching myself through videos. Like I am I am the I am my biggest supporter. I make vlogs, I make music, um, because I love creating. And the whole point of me creating all these videos, the whole point of me writing songs, the whole point of me singing, releasing it out there, putting it on YouTube and Instagram and everything else. Instagram is a different context. Instagram is more unnecessary about talking about it here, but mostly YouTube, I'm gonna say, because I am gonna grow old, you know. I am going to grow old, and the videos that I put out here, my songs, my videos, my vlogs, they're gonna be like a souvenir. What is like a souvenir? Yes, I don't know if it's the right word. They're gonna be like the best way for me to observe my life. How was I when I was a teenager? Or how was life back in 2024? How was life back in 2025? I could understand it by watching my old videos. and if I grow older, I would definitely want to relive some memories or certain feelings. So I'll probably listen to my songs that I created when I was 17, when I was 18, when I was 16, and remember the feeling of being 17. Remember the feeling of heartbreaks or anything. Heartbreaks. I mean, when I write songs about a person or anything at all, I do it for the future. I could definitely write or sing a song without having to think about the future, but then um, I want to remember it, you know. When I grow older, I would want to listen to it again. When I grow older, I would want to watch my old videos again. So I'm doing all of this for the future because I have a sense, I have this attachment to moments, to things, and it's hard for me to detach. Very hard. Detach. Detaching is very hard. Attaching is very easy. I am easily attached to people. I am easily attached to things or places. That's why I want to be a little heartless. I want to be a little bit detached. Like I want to feel less. I want to feel less. And This is a very important topic. No, this is something that I always want to talk about, and this frustrates me a lot because now I'm gonna give you a question. I'm gonna ask you. Eh, video ball, video ball, okay, so. Nang sang maloko.
Eh,
Pupu sila mo.
izin kay Rail sa hiyo.
This is one thing that I'm gonna ask you the question. If I ask you, what is a greater sin? Being a homosexual or having sex before marriage? This is the question. Which one do you think is a greater sin? I feel like generally if this question was asked publicly, I feel like most people would say being a homosexual because they would probably say in the Bible it said don't be a homosexual. A man and a man should not be together, and them sleeping together is a great sin. So I bet most people would say being a homosexual. But why? Why should being a homosexual without acting on it, like if somebody says I'm gay, if somebody says I like girls, if a girl say I like girls, but they haven't even had a girlfriend, or that boy hasn't even had a boyfriend, but he's just a homosexual. He just happens to like the same gender. He hasn't even done anything about it. He doesn't even sexually involve himself with another person. He's just born with it. That's who he is. But why is it that we despise it so much? Like some people would probably want to vomit hearing the word gay, hearing the word lesbians and all that. The fact that we hate it so much is frustrating to me. Because that's something heterosexual people will not understand. The thing is that I don't I don't understand the butterflies that girls get, straight girls get when they see a boy or when they are with their boyfriend. What the butterflies, the happiness that they have, the feelings that they get, I cannot understand that. And in the same way, they cannot understand me. So that means that a heterosexual, somebody who does not feel attraction to the same gender, will never understand the way a homosexual person feels. But if anybody tries to bring up the topic of choice and being a homosexual, we're probably gonna say, stop being a sin. Stop being a gay. Pray more. Go to church. And it's so easy to say, okay? I'm talking about the heterosexual people. Even online, hetero people are so rude. But then we don't want to understand each other. We don't want to listen to each other, so there's no fixing it. But then being a homosexual is not a choice. It's just something that you're born with. And the only thing you can do if you're born a homosexual is live with it, but never act it out. Which means you can feel attraction to the same gender. You are attracted to the same gender, but you must not be with the same gender. But then on the other hand, heterosexual relationship is not wrong between a man and a woman. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. It's right. Even if the way that they behave, the way they act together is not that right. What do you mean a boy and a girl date each other, probably have sex, probably go through abortion, or probably that guy slept with more than one woman, and that is not much of a greater sin? Why don't we hate it, by the way? Instead of this, instead of hating on homosexual people, why don't you lean more? Why don't you hate heterosexual relationships where the two people have sex before marriage? Sex before marriage is also a big sin. I mean, there's no small or big sin because all sins are equal. But then, why is being a homosexual bothering you guys so much? Why is it bothering people so much? But then I actually hate it, okay? Hate is such a strong word, I know, but then I don't really like heterosexual relationship because it is too justified. It is too normal. Like if I have a boyfriend, it doesn't matter if I make out with him before marriage. It doesn't matter if we go out alone at night and we do some things sexually because I am with a man. But if I want to be with a girl, I want. If I think about wanting to be with a girl, and if I tell that to anyone, they would hate it. Why? Why do you despise it so much? I know it's not the right thing. Homosexuality is not good. God doesn't even like it. But what we fail to understand is that it is not a choice. The only choice homosexuals have, like I said, it is to hide it and to not act on it. Mm. So for the last topic, I want to talk about confessions. I want to talk about confessions, okay? I want to talk about confessions. First off, let's start it like this. If somebody is brave enough to confess to you, that means they trust you. I cannot imagine confessing to somebody that I don't trust. Like, even as a person. Because when we if you like someone, I mean, if you like someone that you don't know at all, you never even got the chance to talk to them, you like them because of the way they are outside, which means you like the things that you can see. Maybe the way they smile, or maybe the way they talk to others, or maybe the way they carry themselves. Because how are you supposed to like things that you don't see? So when somebody confesses to you without knowing you, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. Yes, it is not that deep. But I think that confessions is is like a traffic light. If somebody confesses to you after months, probably after 3 or 4 months, but they haven't talked to you. They don't know you at all. If somebody confesses to you, that is a traffic light, like I said, and that confession is a signal to whether they can proceed further. If you say you like them back, then it's a green light. If you say you don't feel the same way, then it's a red light. Confessions are for the brave only. If you are brave enough to confess um, your feelings to someone, if you are that brave enough, do not be ashamed of it. But also, a foolish confession would probably be after seeing them for 2 days. If you confess to them, then you are the dumb one. I cannot imagine confessing to someone I don't trust. Like I said, it have to be someone who will keep that to themselves. Imagine confessing to someone and then they screenshot that and laugh about it with their friends or make joke about it. And when you confess to someone, if you ever confess to someone and they don't feel the same way, it is best to accept it and just move on. Because feelings cannot be forced, okay? The worst the worst thing somebody could do is that you confess to them and then they say they don't actually feel the same, but then they agree to date you because they pity you. Pity. That would be such. That would be a scenario that I can't imagine, and that is something I don't want anybody to go through. Feelings are hard to find, you know. You don't easily. Attraction, feelings, and all that are hard to find. Easily. You cannot easily fall for others. I think it takes time to like people. On the contrary, confessions that are deep, you know. Confessions that are deep. Previously, we talked about confessions that are not that deep, is when you confess to someone that you don't know. It's not that deep, you know. But then, confessions that are deep is when somebody who knows you, who you are, what type of person you are, and then they say they like you, keep them. You gotta keep them, okay? If somebody knows your worst, you're good, and then they say they like you and wanna be with you, then I can say they are your soulmate. Go get your twin, girl. And this is one thing that frustrates me. It is this. Maybe it's because I don't know when people look at me, or not only look at me, like literally, like when the eye contact is frequent and we are both in each other, we both notice each other's presence. Like, you're there, I see you there, you see me here. When anybody seems to give me that type of attention, maybe it's a good thing, right? Maybe they find me attractive. But on the contrary, what disappoints me is that they mostly end up already being in a relationship. Like, this is one thing that I wish. I mean, it's not that completely wrong, you know. You can be attracted to someone even if you are in a relationship with someone. Like it's not because feelings, human feelings, there's not much limit to it. Even if you have a boyfriend, even if you have a girlfriend, attraction you can feel for others. I mean, relationships always start with attraction, you know. Would you wanna be with someone that you cannot picture kissing them? Would you wanna be with someone that you don't feel attracted to at all? Like when you look at them, you don't say wow. But then again, surprisingly, some people from experience, some people are with their boyfriend or their girlfriend because of their personality. Not all. It's not always about looks. Yeah, it's not always about looks. But then, I think that feelings always start with attraction. After being attracted to someone because of their beauty or their looks, then feelings can develop further. You adore them. You are curious about them, and then eventually it can lead to confessions. It always starts with what you see on the outside, you know. You cannot fall in love with things that you don't see. And my favorite movies, I love watching sapphic movies. I don't like hetero romance between man and woman. I don't like watching those movies because I don't feel anything. Okay, I know it's complicated. How am I supposed to feel for a man when I don't feel anything for a man? Ooh. Bye bye.